Hi everyone, Igor from Vinous Reverie Wine Merchant here in Walnut Creek. I'm going to open the stock for this week, but before I do that, I just want to remind if you guys are in the area this Saturday, I'm going to have special guest Kevin Wenk with me from West Imports, and the theme of the tasting is fun regional reds. So it's going to be red wines from Slovenia, France, Italy, and from Germany. Some familiar wines from kind of unusual places, and some indigenous grapes that are really fun to try. So if you're in the area between 1 and 4 on Saturday, please stop by for the tasting. All right, let's get to the opening the boxes. Fun wines from all over the world. Let's start with domestic wines that I got in. All right, first is a Pinot from Oregon. Haven't had Oregon Pinot in some time, so I brought in the producer, Lingua Franca. Very highly acclaimed producer, pretty new, first started in 2015. So this is a 2018 vintage of Pinot Noir. Larry Stone is the winemaker and the proprietor. So he was a highly thought of sommelier. They kind of decided to go out of the restaurant business and into the winemaking business. He's had consultation from Dominique Lafon on his property, which is one of the most famous producers from Meursault. So you know, obviously with such experience, you expect you know, excellent wines like this. You know, 93 points, Wine and Spirits magazine. But overall, the winery gets a lot of acclaim. Jancis Robinson has dedicated long articles to it. Forbes magazine, so really nice winery. So you know, I decided to, hey, why not bring this particular Pinot? Oh, one more interesting thing about this wine. So it comes from Eola-Amity Hills, which is a subsection of Willamette Valley, and it's interesting about that subsection. It's a lot of the soil is volcanic soil, and I love the volcanic soil wines. To me, they have more mineral grip to them, and frequently they're much more interesting wines than from other subsoils. I mean, different soil types have their beauty, but I particularly like volcanic soil types. All right, so now we'll go to Pilcrow Winery out of Napa. This is a winery that concentrates on 3 cuvées, Cabernet-based cuvées, from Mount Veeder, Yountville, and this one, Howell Mountain. High elevation cap, 2,000 feet elevation, that's where the vineyards are. And this is volcanic soil as well. So when I tried this wine, it's definitely a big wine. It's got nice tannic grip, young, either decanted or cellared. But it's fantastic wine. Got 95 points from decanter. So excellent Howell Mountain fruit here. All right. Now France. All right. Beaujolais, and this comes from Domaine la Fleurie crew. So Beaujolais region has 10 smaller communes. They're called crews, and frequently wines that come from those communes are more complex in nature. They're on granite soils, and they're typically more interest than wines that come either Beaujolais general area or Beaujolais village. So the crews are kind of more complex wines. Obviously Beaujolais is based on the Gamay grape, and Fleurie is kind of considered the most delicate of the 10 crews. Lighter in style, very aromatic, very beautiful wine that, you know, will pair well, obviously Thanksgiving food, but I think it's just Gamay is such a flexible and versatile red grape that it'll go with a lot of white meats, salads, fish, etc. Great pairing wine. And this wine comes from right outside La Madone Vineyard. That's the most vineyard. That's kind of like the premier cru vineyard within Fleurie. So this, the grapes for this wine just come just right outside of that. So really beautiful Beaujolais. All right, next. Cremant d'Alsace from Dirler-Cade. this is a fantastic sparkling wine. I think Cremant d'Alsace are probably the best value sparkling wines in the whole wine world. Frequently they retail between $20 and $25, and you get a lot of 90-point scores in that price range. To me, if you like champagne but don't want to pay the champagne price, Cremant d'Alsace is an excellent substitute. And this particular wine has had great accolades. Actually, some of the best accolades for Cremant d'Alsace that I've seen. The 14 and 15 vintages got 94 points from Wine Enthusiast, which is just about as high of a score that I've seen. This, the 2016 vintage, which is what this is, got 94 points from Falstaff magazine. It's a magazine that typically specializes in Austrian and some German wines. But I guess the appeal of this wine, that they need to chime in and give it a really high score. It's based on 3 grapes: Pinot Auxerrois, Pinot Gris, and Pinot Noir. So 3 Pinots. Nice, smooth mousse, tiny, delicate bubbles. Very beautiful wine. One thing about a lot of Cremant d'Alsace, I think why many of them are of such high quality, it's mandatory for them to be hand harvested. So I think partially what hand harvest means versus machine harvest is when machine goes to the vineyard, picks up all the grapes. But when you hand harvest, you pick out the grapes that are suitable to make wine. So I think if you get bunches where the grapes are not that good, you just don't pick them up. So I think you get a higher quality in a batch, and that leads to a more complex wine. So I think why a lot of the Cremant d'Alsace are, like I said, of such high quality is because of that process. So this is an excellent, if you like sparkling wine, I would highly recommend this one. Very nice. Bandol Rosé from La Suffrene Winery. So Provincial Rosé. So Bandol is a appellation within Provence. Obviously, Provence is the most famous rosé wine growing region in the world. A lot of provincial wines are based on Grenache and Cinsault grapes. Those are typically the biggest parts of the blend. But what's interesting about Bandol is that Mourvèdre dominates the blend, and it's typically the grape has more depth to it. It has more structure to it. As you can see, it's darker than your typical rosé. It's probably had a little more skin contact, and this is a rosé that will go great with food. It's not just like aperitif, like easy drinking rosé, like a lot of provincial rosés are. This has power to it, and you could definitely, I think, seafood and fish would be sufficient partners. So high accolades for this wine as well. Got a 92 point from Wine Enthusiast. Excellent wine. All right, so Southern Hemisphere as well. This is from Faugeres region in Languedoc. So Languedoc is a big area, and Faugeres, it's like a town within there. And what's interesting is that a lot of the vineyards in Faugeres are granite-based soils. So Languedoc is frequently the variety and the selection of wines that is very inconsistent. It's the biggest wine growing region in the world. A lot of bulk wine, cheap wine, everything that goes with that. Very not interesting wines unless you know specific winemakers and specific regions where they come from. So Faugeres, I think, is one of the more renowned villages within Languedoc. And this is La Liquiere is the name of the winery. L'Ampoule is the cuvée, and this is a cuvée based on Cinsault grape. So Cinsault is one of the Rhone varieties, but it's typically used in Southern Rhone blends in a tiny amount. But when it's bigger part of the blend, it's actually once again a more like kind of lighter, delicate grape, similar to Pinot Noir, and I think it makes a very nice, beautiful wines that are food friendly, just like Pinot, just like Gamay. And this is a very nice wine, and I think you got 16.5 points from Jensen Robinson for wine that retails for $18. I think this is an excellent value. Now let's go to Italy. All right. So we were talking about volcanic soils for a couple of our domestic wines. So this is the most famous volcanic soil wine of them all, from Mount Etna. So this is Etna Bianco. The Etna wines really became popular relatively recently. Actually, the sommelier community started hyping them up because these wines started getting good scores, and they kind of started going to the restaurants. So as the hype kind of increased, the prices escalated as well. But the region was really making basically village wines until the early 2000s. It's relatively a new region, and now like the prices, like I said, are jumping higher and higher, and it's hard to find good examples at like a relatively good price point. Just about very few examples below $30. So I was very excited to find this one from Barone di Villagrande, which is the oldest winery on the mountain. They've been making wines there since 1700s, and this is a 2019 Etna Bianco. So Etna Bianco, it's a white wine from Mount Etna, and it's based on a Caricante grape. I got 93 points from Wine Enthusiast, which is a fantastic score, and I have it for $26, which I think is like a great price point for wines that are kind of going higher and higher with every vintage. Okay, we have one more. Xinomavro from Greece, from the Alpha Estate winery. So Alpha Estate is one of the best producers of wine in Greece. They specialize both in indigenous grapes like Xinomavro and more international varieties like Pinot Noir, Chardonnay. This is kind of their entry-level Xinomavro Hedgehog. And I've had this wine before. First, when I opened the shop, I had the 2015 vintage. Now this is the 2018 vintage, and it consistently gets high scores. Just about every vintage gets 17 points from Justice Robinson, and this one got 94 points from Wine and Spirits magazine, which I think is a fantastic score for wine that retails below $25. Xinomavro, it's maybe equivalent to Nebbiolo. It's a medium body wine with high tannins. So you really have to kind of let it open up. But then it pairs well with a lot of red meats like barbecues, lamb. Even go, I think, with some like stews that have meats in it. So it's a excellent tannic wine. And I think if you never had Xinomavro and kind of like bigger style reds, this is an excellent one to try. So this is the selection for this week. I hope you guys stop in and enjoy some of the wines. And like always, the website has all the information about wines. I think it's the best way to shop in the store. I have points, background information, pictures. So if you guys go to the website, I think I have more information on these wines as well. Thank you.